Hi friends! Well, this is one of my project box. I always wanted to do something with them but didn't get a chance, especially these red ones. As you can see, its holes are very small. I finally find a solution to play with them with the macrame cords. They don't have to sit here forever anymore, and I'm so excited to show you today about that. Here is how I figured it out. The major problem here is the hole of this gemstone is only under 1 millimeter. So how do I create a design that matches this volume of the bead based on one thin single cord? As you can see here, the braids are very thick, which meets my needs. I'm happy with what I got. Another request I got for myself is, how do I make those beads kind of like floating over there but not tied up, which contributes to a strong and elegant look to the whole bracelet. And I'm happy with what you see here. I've always loved this bloody red jasper gemstone. Also, it made a fun project for this Valentine's Day, isn't it? This bracelet is quite easy because the main braid is only square knot. And we'll go through how to braid the clasp end with a barrier knot today. As you know, that barrier knot is quite simple and time-saving. So only a few tips you needed for this bracelet that I believe you can get there quite easily. So to match the volume of my jasper, I decided to use 2 cords on each side to braid a thick stripe. Leave about 6 to 7 inches to the end, then start. Here we only braid square knots, which you're already very familiar with, so I'm not going to braid a lot today. There's one thing I need to keep in my mind during the braiding is, I'll try to manage the 2 cords in order, here to there, so that they neatly lined up with each other to show a clean look. Okay, here comes the most difficult but most valuable part. Let's go through it together. I use 2 sides of braiding cords to kind of make a cross at the back to support this bead. And I want these cords on the back to be also decorative too. At the back here, the left side cords were on the right side of cords. So after I finish the cross on the back, I go to the front to make another cross. Remember to make sure the second set will tie the same way. So at the back, the left side's cords was on top. However, after you turn to the front, you can see it's the right side cords on top of the left. This back and front cross that helped me to set these 2 braiding cords on the center cord. And next, we're going to use the right side cords to make the first loop of the square knot braiding. The thing I need to pay attention here when I'm braiding the square knot is the 2 crosses I made earlier will not get loosened when I'm braiding this new knot. So after this final tie of the square knot, I settled these 2 crosses and the stone on the center cord securely. As I said, I see some braids are not nice. I need to adjust them to make them kind of line up with each other. Let's review a little bit. Check if it's the same pattern as above. So it's the left side braiding cords on top at the back. When you cross again in the front, it's the right side cord on the bottom and left side on the top to make the second cross. And this time we can see the cross in the front of this bracelet. We'll make a square knot from the front too this time. I always use the top cords as the first braid for the square knot. Doesn't matter if it's in the front or the back. Again, I make sure the two crosses are not loosened up during the braiding before the tie. You can decide how many ties you want in between those beads according to your own. If you tie the square knot in the front of this bracelet, you start from braiding from the front. Because the indicator loop is on the left of the front. There's an indicator loop on the back situation coming soon. So here I tied a square knot at the back. So the indicator loop is on the left now. I kind of did a small experiment here to make sure the differences I tie from the back and in the front. And the result is they don't have differences. Which means it doesn't matter if you tie the square knot at the front of the bracelet or at the back of the bracelet. The result will be the same, which I mentioned is the first square knot after the crosses. Alright, let's go to the clasp. As you can see, I used two reinforced snake knots to lock the end of the square knot. You don't actually need to lock the square knot end like what I did, because the knot you're using to lock the clasp will tie up all the remaining together. Hey Anne, are you here? Remember you asked me how long do you need to leave this distance here in case you can lock it. Remember my answer was the lock itself, it doesn't need too long. 3 to 5 millimeter is what I did usually. You can decide how long you want to be according to how long your bracelets are. Let's say if you feel like, oh, I want more of this decorating end, then you can leave it longer. But normally, if you just want to lock it, you don't need that long. No matter how long you braid this, you want to make sure the whole length fits your wrist. Okay, I'm going to show you how to use the barrier knot to lock this end instead of reinforced snake knot. Set the lock length you want first. Then you place this tube parallel to the cords. Then you pick the very bottom cord to place on top and lined up with the previously made knot. For example, here I have the reinforced snake knot. Right next to it and make a loop towards your left hand for about 5 rounds until you meet the clasp's end. Make sure every loop you made is tight enough and equal to each other so that you will have a better result. Insert the cord end to this loop and pull it up. Then you stretch this cord to tighten the knot. At the same time, you rub it, organize it, and make sure every loop got tightened. Okay, isn't that easy? On the side, you can see this loop is a little bit up of the reinforced snake knot. It doesn't matter. After wear it, it's no difference. The thing is, you want to pull the remaining cords on the same side of the other side. You know what I mean? So they will lay towards the same direction when you're wearing it. Well, I didn't know that the barrier knot here is not as bad. It kind of matched the previous knot, right? Especially we just took such a short time to finish it. But this end I use barrier knot again because this whole bracelet has big bold beads. I don't want to over decorate it. Alright, I really enjoy the back of this whole bracelet. It's very decorative, very unique. And it has a floating look of the beads laying on top of our braids, which is very special. I really like it. And the exciting thing is I can use this method to apply a lot of my gemstone beads, which is so happy. I've been making jewelry for a long time, so I have lots of beads stored up there. I have various of sizes of holes, which is the main challenge of macrame projects. The point is, I don't want to keep buying beads for new projects over and over again. I really want to use the ones that I already bought. So if you have the same concern, simply comment. Maybe we'll figure out something together. And maybe in the next video we'll be doing the beads that you have at hand or similar to them. Alright, see you soon. Bye!